Please turn off the ad block, subscribe, and share. Links will be below for anyone wanting to support this channel.
Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of TechViews and Help. And today we're going to get into another Windows 10 tutorial. This is the official version of Windows 10. And this one's going to be a little bit more complicated. So it's going to be a little bit longer. But this is a massively useful tool that was added into Windows 10 that was not there before. So one thing I want to mention is this functionality was in Linux for I think a decade, maybe more. It was in I think it recently got into OS X not long ago, but I'm thinking like 6 months ago or something like that. But it's not a new functionality, and people have been modifying their computers to do it, and for Windows computers. So you might have had a taste of it in the past, but if you're just an average Joe, you've probably never seen this before, and you're probably going to get a kick out of this one. So we're going to talk about virtual desktops. Virtual desktops is basically if you have a limited amount of computer, as far as one monitor, and you really need to have more than one monitor. Or let's say, for example, you want to separate your work from your personal, from your school, from whatever. This makes it a ton much easier. So how does this work? Basically, to make a virtual desktop, there's two ways to do it. If you hold down the Control, Windows, and D, it makes a brand new virtual desktop. Or if you go to the task view button right here, you guys might have been wondering what that is. If you just press new desktop, and then there you go. Now I got a black background, so and this, what you're seeing is Rainmeter. So one thing I want to tell you right now is the some modifications I've done in the past with Deskscape, which shows a moving image for the background. That seems to go away when you switch desktops, and that's something that you might want to keep in mind if you want to use a given software that modifies something like that. If it's not free, see if you can get a demo, and at worst try to ask the developers themselves if it supports Windows 10 and specifically this functionality. So that's one thing that you really need to keep in mind. But as far as that goes, basically if you go to the task view, you can see all the running software that is on a given desktop. And with this, if you got multiple monitors, say for example I got 2 monitors, it shows all the running software on one monitor, and then the other monitor shows all the running software on it. So that's a very neat thing. And if you want, you can actually go and press Alt and Tab, and if you hold it down, it will allow you to select what to open. But this only works for the given virtual desktop. So for example, you might notice all the software here that's running on this desktop, and if we select that, we can have that open. But let's switch to desktop 2, and let's open Windows Explorer. And if you notice that only this in the recorder will show up in all the desktops based on how I have it set up, so you can actually see this. But the file explorer, this was not on the other, and also it you don't see all the other software, so that's something that you might want to keep in mind. Now as far as that goes, if we switch to desktop 3, and let's start Windows Store. And let's close the Windows Store. And what this will demonstrate is it saves the actual instance it was in. Alright, and as you see here, it's minimized. So if I go switch from this, it will show that it is running on this desktop. But if I go and switch to say desktop 2, it you can see that we didn't minimize this, we didn't span it, so therefore it saved that instance. However, if I go and switch back, it's still minimized. So it's very, very important to note that it saves the actual instance itself. Now, if we want, we can close that out real quick. And let's start deleting these virtual desktops. And let's go ahead and open up the calculator here. And let's minimize this. Alright, and now if we go to the task view and go to desktop 1, or if we just go ahead and exit out of these other desktops, we're back here, and as you see here, all the software that was running on the other desktops, the virtual desktops, are brought to the primary or whatever is left. So it's very, very important to note that, and it works in the reverse direction in itself, as you can see here. So if you have something that you just want to close out, you can't just close the virtual desktop itself and have it where it closes the software. You have to actually go ahead and close the software. Now you can close the software from the task viewer, as you've seen there, but that's a big thing you want to keep in mind. Now let's go ahead and actually try something else with the task viewer. So one of the neat tricks is to snap this to a given side. It'll bring up the task viewer itself, and I'm going to cover this in a separate tutorial, but basically it shows everything within the actual virtual desktop instance that can be taking up the other side of the screen. And basically what this is you snap something on one side of the screen, and now it's asking you, what do you want to snap on the other side of the screen? So let's choose that, and it makes it much more easier to have a split instance. If you didn't want something like that, like say for example, if you didn't want the any of these things, just click the area and it will go away, or press the escape key and it will go away. But anyways, as far as that goes, that's pretty much a easy and simple way that you can use virtual desktops. Again, what a lot of people do is they make them in say for example, the first one would be primary, so whatever, then second work, school, personal, something else, and so on. And you can make as many as you want. Keep in mind the RAM and processing power on your computer. This is all one computer, so if you have something very processing intensive onto your virtual desktops, then basically it's treated as one thing. So for example, if I want to render a video, then start using Adobe Premiere and start doing some crazy stuff on top of that, the computer would basically locked up because you just used all of its hard drive resources. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. It does not separate step 2. So basically, if you want to test a given software and see if it has a virus in it, this is not a way to do it. This is not anything on one desktop can interact with another desktop, as you've seen. So that's also not a safe way to do it. So those are the two big things to keep in mind, is that the resources does still actually being used. Even if you're not on a given desktop, it is still being used because it's just running in the background. It's as if you just minimize whatever it is. And also on top of that, the stuff, it does not separate. The software on one desktop can communicate with the software on another desktop, as you've seen earlier, but that means that you can't or really shouldn't test viruses on any given desktops, which you'll find a lot of security white hats try to do. So as far as that goes, pretty sure that was pretty much about it. If you do have any questions or anything else, then feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I'll try to answer it as quickly as possible. And if you do want to add any other tips or anything onto this, because there might be something I missed, then go ahead and leave that in the comment section too. But if you like this, please leave a like, subscribe, and share, and please feel free to check out our other videos, hacking and everything else. But if you didn't like this, go ahead and leave a dislike, but tell me why so I can fix it in future videos. Again, this has been Craig Bennett, founder of TechViews Help, and if you want to help us out, then please check out our Patreon campaign. Have a great day.